Have you noticed how much more you're paying for a pint or a glass of shardy lately? Because twice a year, for the past 40 years, the taxman has taken a bigger cut. And between punters, publicans and bottle shop owners, it's just not passing the pub test. Some say it could even topple the government.
A cold beer after a long day at work. It's an Australian tradition. Maybe you're taking home a bottle of red to have over dinner, or an old school rum and coke. Whatever your tipple, there's someone who enjoys it more than you. It's the federal government. Why? Because the amount of tax you pay per drink is eye-watering. It's referred to as the beer tax or the booze tax, and the tax man loves it.
We're really robbing the country and the drinkers out there.
Absolutely disgusting. Why? What for?
And the sting is it goes up twice a year.
Thank you.
Indexed to inflation, and has been since 1983.
Well, there's been 82 increases in this tax since its inception.
Craig Laundy's family are Sydney's biggest publicans, with venues all over the city. He's also a former federal politician and knows both sides of the debate.
This financial year, in the budget papers, the excise gathered by the federal government is around $7.86 billion. They forecast out 4 years. By the end of financial year 27, that will be a tick under $9 billion gathered.
During the Turnbull government, he was the Minister for Small and Family Business. He's convinced it's an election issue.
If the Liberal Party and the Labor Party aren't working out that how much you are paying at your local pub, club, bar or restaurant for a drink when you enjoy having it, it is across the country. And I think it's one of the things they're talking about. Not the only thing, they're talking about all of it, but it wraps in absolutely with the cost of living issue. There you go, Neil.
Cheers, Craig, of VB. Nice to learn in the government for that one there. Now, one of the things is there's a different amount of tax on different alcohol. How different is it?
I'll give you an absolute classic. Yeah. Right? 1 litre bottle of Bundaberg rum.
Yeah.
You'll buy that at your local bottle shop next door here for $60.
$60 a bottle, yeah, fair enough.
How much do you reckon the government takes of that 60 in excise?
15.
Nowhere near. $38. There's 24 standard drinks in that. The government get 16 of them. The bottle shop operator gets 8.
$38?
38 of $60. That's how crazy this tax has got.
Laundy says the tax is even more sinister because GST is added to the excise component, a double dip.
It's worse, it's a tax on a tax. So, you know, and that should never be the case in a country like ours, that it gets that silly.
Let's break it down. Here's a schooner of VB. You paid, say, $10 for it. About $2 of those dollars is tax. On a $60 slab to take home, it's a lot worse. About 25 of those bucks is tax, the equivalent of, say, 10 stubbies. A $20 bottle of wine, it's a lot more simple. 29% tax flat rate, about $6 worth, plus $2 GST, that's $8. If you think publicans are doing it tough, try running a bottle shop, like Alan Rubin in Sydney's northwest. Alan, show us a couple of these cartons here, because there's different amounts depending on whether they're heavy or mid-strength or light. So say you've got the Coopers here, that's full strength. What sort of tax on that carton?
The tax would be over half the retail price.
Wow, that's a lot. What about these mid-strengths here, Alan? They're popular, Great Northern, 4X Gold. What are we talking here?
Well, they're slightly lower in alcohol and they're a smaller bottle, so there is less tax than on the 375ml.
So about $20 a carton?
Probably around $20, yeah.
Still a lot.
It is a lot, it is.
Alan's tried to control prices and is worried about where it will all end.
When do you get a point when beer's $80 a case, you know? So when's that going to be?
His loyal customers cop it every time they buy a slab and hand over hard-earned cash to the taxman.
Doesn't help us, does it?
You and your mates wouldn't be happy with that?
No, not at all, mate. No one is. No one's happy. But what can you do? Change the government, maybe.
Good one. Hawke's Brewing Company is named after this man.
I tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum.
Former PM Bob Hawke, one of Australia's most famous beer drinkers. He holds the world record for sculling a yard glass during his university days. Ironically, he introduced the tax in simpler times.
And the great man Bobby Hawke nailed it. Said, thank you very much, boys.
You know, the dream of, I think, Bob Hawke himself and many Australians was our ability to be able to get together as a community and enjoy a beer with your mates at the pub. And, you know, that's become really under threat in the last few years because inflation's risen.
What are we brewing? Lager.
Nathan Lennon is co-founder of Hawke's Brewing.
If you look at the makeup of what it costs to actually make a finished product, excise tax for us at least probably would equate to about nearly 60% of the cost of the actual making of a beer, and the other 40 to 45% will be the raw ingredients.
That cost flows on and is killing a great Australian custom, the shout.
Around now between four mates will cost potentially over $50. You've now got this culture where people are just going up to the bar and buying themselves a drink. You know, it doesn't seem right.
Drinkers agree.
The tax increase is making it hard for pub culture to stay around, which is a big thing for Aussies.
Is the government addicted to this tax?
They have been addicted to this tax historically because it's largely gone unnoticed. The levels that it is at today don't allow that to continue to be the case. We as an industry are making a lot of noise. It does no longer pass the pub test.
There's cost of living and there's cost of culture. And, you know, what we're seeing is both.
Prices need to go down, simple as that.
Could it be an election issue?
Yeah, it could, definitely.
Jeez.
So what do you think? Is the booze tax killing the great Aussie tradition of shouting your mates? Scan the QR code to head to our website to have your say. So far, 75% reckon it is getting too expensive, so you've got to buy your own drinks.